Skirt. What's up, YouTube? E3 just passed, and what an E3 it was. E3 this year was one of my favorite E3s in the recent years. It's been great. The PlayStation conference was actually my favorite. Xbox had a great conference. Nintendo had not a great conference, but Nintendo had they showed a lot of gameplay from Pokemon Sun and Moon. They showed the Zelda game, what was it called? The Wrath of the Wind, I think. I'm not sure. I'm sorry if I made a mistake right there. But as soon as the PlayStation conference started, it was nothing but game after game after game after game. All great games. There was not like one bad game. It opened up with God of War. God of War was crazy. I was here with my friends watching E3, and they didn't know it was Kratos. One of them knew that it was Kratos because of the orchestra that was playing in the beginning, prior to the video. But that game looked beautiful. The graphics were crazy. I still can't believe it's running on a PS4. Gameplay looks pretty cool. Well, it's God of War, so you can't expect that much of a difference. He has a son now, and he's teaching his son how to hunt. They fight this giant, and yeah, we didn't get to see like a huge it kind of was like a boss battle, but it wasn't like what we were used to like that. But I'm really hyped for that God of War game. You had Hideo Kojima's new project. He had Death Stranding. It was as soon as I saw Norman Reedus, I thought it was gonna be PT. I didn't know it was gonna be like a new IP, but you had to expect that because PT was canceled and Guillermo del Toro is not making Death Stranding. But there was like a camera shot of crabs. You see black handprints all over the floor, like pitch black. And then you see Norman Reedus like naked, and he has like a scar around his stomach, and he's holding on to a baby. There's like humans in the sky, and then it just cuts to Death Stranding. That's the name of the game. It looks very interesting. You know it's Hideo Kojima, so it's gonna be a great game. Last Guardian. Finally, this game is real. Last Guardian's gonna be crazy, and I didn't know there was gonna be more than one of those bird things. There's actually a ton of them, and most of them are evil. Did not know that. But you also got Final Fantasy 15 that was shown on the Xbox conference and it was shown on the PS4 conference. They showed a huge boss battle, which was kind of confusing to see what was going on, but it looked sick. It looked really fun. They also announced that it was gonna be the Final Fantasy 15 is gonna come to VR, and you're gonna be playing as Prompto, but it didn't look that good. The VR for the Final Fantasy 15 didn't look good at all. What it was basically like if you ever been to a movie theater or played House of the Dead Overkill on the Wii, that's what it looked like. It didn't look all that nice, but maybe it'll be different. I don't know. Yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn, more gameplay, and they actually showed a lot of gameplay. Different bows, the weaknesses of like the enemies. Different types of like robotic dinosaurs, if that's what they call them. And they showed the release date February 28th, 2017. I can hardly wait to play that game. Detroit Become Human was really cool. They had it was made by Quantic Dream. Yeah, it's like people made Heavy Rain, and it seems a lot like Heavy Rain. The graphics are crazy good, as always with Quantic Dream. But the biggest interesting thing about this game is the story. The story is crazy. It sounds crazy. You decide what happens in the outcome. You decide the outcome. What happens? You could either like kill the person, or you could kill yourself. Like there was a whole web tree, like a whole tree of different outcomes that could happen, because it was showing this android that was holding on to this girl. And then there was another android, but this was a good android that had to try to save the girl. That's cool, but we didn't get like a release date or anything about that. Maybe 2017. Resident Evil 7, that was crazy. I could not believe that was Resident Evil 7. They said it's gonna be all on VR. You can play on VR if you want, which is a definite must play. Even though I'm scared shitless of horror games like that, I posted a video on YouTube about Resident Evil 7, my reactions. That's gonna be really cool. The demo came out, so yeah, everyone downloaded it. The game's scary. There's different endings I heard too. Days Gone was a really cool new IP. I swear to God, I had a feeling it was Naughty Dog making this game, because when I was watching it, it did not look like it would be like a Sony Bend game. It really didn't. Sony Bend made Siphon Filter. They made the Uncharted on the the PS Vita. But it was like this biker dude, and it was like a zombie game. It was more action oriented, so it wasn't that. You wouldn't think it was like a Naughty Dog game. It looked like it though. That was the crazy thing. Sony Ben is making a really interesting game. I really want to play that game. Call of Duty. You didn't know it was Call of Duty when it first started. If you looked at it, you started off in a spaceship and then you got out and you started shooting. I'm like, oh, this looks like a really cool VR game. And then I'm like, it's Call of Duty. I'm like, oh my god, it cannot be a good thing if your game looks like a VR game. That can never be a good thing. That's never a good sign. But we'll see. It looked pretty cool that you could fly in a ship and come out and shoot. Because when I saw that as a VR, I was like, oh, that's really cool. But then when I saw it as Call of Duty, I'm like, but Call of Duty is a competitive game. You're not gonna be playing that with a VR. Spider-Man was a big highlight, and it's made by Insomniac, the makers of Ratchet and Clank. That I'm buying that day one because we finally get a Spider-Man game that we deserve. The last good one was on the GameCube PS2. It was like the original. The last ones, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, were garbage because they got pushed alongside the movie release, and they weren't given the proper care and attention they needed. It looks really cool and interesting. They said it's gonna be open world, and I hope it comes out next year. I really hope it comes out next year. PlayStation VR got a release date October 13, 2016. They showed a bunch of games. They said that 50 games are gonna come out on release. You had the Star Wars Battlefront X-Wing VR missions. You had the Batman Arkham VR, which is crazy because Rocksteady said that they're not gonna show that, and they weren't not that they're gonna show that, but they said that they're not gonna make another Arkham game, Batman. They had Farpoint VR trailer. I didn't like Farpoint that much. I really didn't. But over the VR, the last thing you had was Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot, they're remastering the 1, 2, and Warp. But they're also making Skylanders for Crash Bandicoot. The only thing about that, I was really hype about the Crash Bandicoot game, but the only bad thing about it is that the Crash Bandicoot didn't look like Crash Bandicoot. He looked very weird. He looked like a creep. If you look at his face, he looks like a creep. Then they showed Lego Star Wars 7, which I don't know who's interested in. If you are interested in it, then good for you. To each his own. But then, yeah, that was actually it. That was what was noteworthy, actually. But other than that, I think it was a great conference. I really would give it an A if I were to give a grade, but I'm not a teacher. So, all I'm saying is, most of those games, I'm buying. But other than that, that was it. And I'm going to make another video about the Xbox E3 conference. And, that's it, guys. I'll see you all later. Skirt. I'm out.